listen to this one. You might not be able to put it out. I need to talk it out, but I also need to talk it out slowly. I'm sitting here trying to think, but I find that I need to talk out loud to think sometimes. Hence this podcast. I'm trying to figure out what the hinge is. It's like this is an add-on to the last one where I do get upset and I think I make the wrong hinge, that it's my fault. I automatically jump to, what did I do wrong? When we have to remember that people do their stuff. Like people have their own stuff going on. They have their own lives going on. They have their own shit happening. And so they're not even aware that they're triggering you. They're not aware of there's a lot of people who are it's the idea of walking around unconscious, where it's like we're all conscious until we're knocked offline, so to speak, or triggered, or it's like you're in the present moment until something happens and you have to recognize, wait a minute, I've left the present moment. Why? What's happening? What happened? And the more we can do that, the more we can clear up our own stuff. And so recently somebody came back into my life who was a major trigger for me and who did shake a lot of shit loose in me, which is a good thing. Like, a lot of people could look at it as a bad thing, but ultimately it's good, because if you can shake stuff loose, then you can get closer to yourself. You can and remove the things that are blocking you from you, even when you think you're close to you. And we want to blame them for making us feel insane or blocking us or causing all. No, we're doing all that, right? And so then ultimately at the end, you end up being grateful, right, for that relationship, even if it's turbulent, because if you're doing the work. I'm not suggesting anybody stay in trauma bonds or any of that nonsense. I'm saying if you're doing your own work and your own shadow work and taking your own accountability, then you can recognize these things. And it's this is why there's some saying or phrase, and I don't recall it, but basically it's like, that's where as humans we grow, is in relationships, but in healthy dynamics, right? But there are some that, there's definitely some that are, there's so many, right? Trauma bonds, not good, all these things, but there's also some that they're not bad, but they're so triggering that we label them as bad because it hurts, it's painful. But we have to ask ourselves why. What are we telling ourselves? Because we are the one feeling the pain, so we are telling ourselves something. And so it's like a cue. It's our own cue and clue to dig and discover why, what's happening. And asking ourselves the right questions and getting to the bottom of it, and not jumping too soon any which way to any conclusion. And in any case, somebody who shook a lot of shit loose re-entered my life. And the first feeling that flooded my body was excitement. I really got excited. And then I was like, slow your roll. Because I was like, wait a minute, is this a trick? Is this a trap? Is this a more head games? Is this more games? Is this more, what's the reach out for? What's the reason? What's all the sudden? What's the, and all these questions start to come in, which is fear and fright, which is ego, which is all these things. And it's like, well, I have to learn my lessons. Yep. And I have to choose me. Yep. And I can't leave my alignment. Nope. And I have to be like right here, right now. I have to decide. Like, there's all these things that I have learned, and it's like the final test. But I swear that happens to me often. So it's like, how many final tests does one have to have? Which would imply that, one, it never ends. There is no final test. Or B, I'm not learning the lessons, so I keep getting tested until I do. And so, as you know, that could be a real problem for me. I can get stuck in my head and spin it many different ways and cause further stagnation. And so, I think it is, for me, it's a matter of speaking up and asking the right questions if given that opportunity, or maybe speaking up without the opportunity, but nonetheless, it's also, they're showing more. It's like not jumping too far ahead and not getting excited, not getting disappointed, not getting any which way, just staying in the present moment. It is what it is. I'm still aligned with me, and I'm choosing me. And I think what they're also trying to get me to see is, because it's more than forgive or don't forgive, this passage they keep taking me to. I think it's also the idea of, oh, interesting. Sorry. It just literally took me to a line that said the twin. Which, oh God, please. That took me off track. It just literally jumped those words out of the page to me. What is it? Oh, the abandonment wound, right? I think it was like I needed to get that last piece out of my crawl, but they had to show me that. Like, it was like I hadn't seen it again from this angle. I swear sometimes it's the same lesson, but I have to go all the way around the wheel or all the way around the pie to get every sliver out from every angle out, right? It's like that idea where you can close it all up and think it's all closed up, and you're like, oh no, there's still a sliver here. There's still a sliver here. It's still this last integration, or this, it always feels like that. I got to tell you, I do want to tell you that. I feel like it's always that last integration. I'm like, oh, haven't I said that 400 times? How many last integrations, right? And it's like, stop thinking that. There's never an end. It's just further growth, and it's okay, right? It's like I have to be easier and more gentle on myself. And okay, but I'm still not getting out. Like, they're showing me what is that? It's they keep wanting me to see. They want me to see this abandonment, this ignoring, this leaving behind. It's something there. It's like this mishinge. It's like it's almost like making it all about me, right? Like, oh, it was my fault. I did something wrong. And again, like, I don't want to gaslight any of you, because it's not how I feel. And it's not that it's coming from my ego. So I don't mean it like that when I say making it all about me, but it is how we are. And it is what we do when we do that, where we are technically not getting out of our own way, right? It is the ability to float up and be like, it's actually not about you. So don't take it personally. That doesn't mean you still engage with those people time and again. If it continues to trigger you, it means you need to take a look at your trigger so you can pull it out, so that when people do ghost, leave, ignore, you respond accordingly. I think that's what they're getting me saying. For you respond accordingly, because you now have that discernment and you have the ability to speak up and ask those questions, so that I don't have to respond in kind. So it's that same idea where, if it is, it's like having all the right tools, right? Like, so someone close does turn their back on you. It's speaking up for yourself, asking the right questions, but also not forcing, pushing, or pressuring, in that you also are not making it about you anymore. So you can, it's like soothe the problem correctly, meaning, that happens. You speak up for yourself, you ask the right questions, you say, I recognize this isn't about me, but this really hurt me that we're not speaking. Is there a reason? Do you need your space? Is it about me? It's like having the ability to communicate correctly, and decipher and discern for oneself. Like, if you're able to stay in communication, or it's like, that's too painful for me, like, to keep running into that sword that really hurts me. But it's more than that. They're showing us also, like, don't push or pressure some people. It's like they don't even know how to answer. They just need time, or they need space. So it's like the more you pressure or whatever, then the more distance grows. And it isn't about you. Yet you can make it about you, which then makes it worse and more agitated. There's so much here they're showing me, because they're also showing me many people. And so that's why I'm pulling in all these different, because it's different for each one of them. And I think that's what they're showing me. It is the same scenario, but it's also showing on both ends of the stick. In other words, they're putting me in scenarios where the other person actually is responding out of their abandonment womb, and I'm able to lift up out of it. But then they're putting me in other situations where it's triggering my abandonment wound, right? And so they're showing me both ends of the stick and how we're all, it is like the idea of the splishing and the splashing, and having to lift up out of it, see what's going on, heal our own stuff, not engage until it's like healed. And it's like even when one heals, having the discernment on how to, it is kind of like handle every individual case, right? Because there is no, oh, that's interesting they're saying it like this, because like everything, and especially this podcast, right? Like, I talk about these things and I try to talk about them in broad strokes, yet when I get specific on things or tell you stories of different energies or storylines that are coming through, it can be dangerous in that people make it fit them. Make it fit. And it's like, no, everybody's story is individual. Everybody's story is unique, and everybody's story has unique twists and turns. And so if you try to force it to fit a certain lesson or dynamic for you, and you're not going in and doing your own work, you're only hurting yourself, because it's like you're failing yourself. You're falling short on yourself, where your higher self might have wanted you to see a different angle or a different understanding or a different lesson altogether. So even though it sounded like the same story, it sure sounded like she was talking about me. You have to know if it's like you might be able to learn something from there. I hope you are, but that doesn't mean it's like, oh, that's the answer. That's the end of the story. That's the end of the road. No, it's like the idea of like there is no one size fits all, because we all have so many different layers. We really do. And so many different twists and turns in our own story that you don't want to race through it, and you don't want to drag your feet through it, right? It's like you really just want to do the best by you. And the best by you is learning to love and accept you, and to be gentle and kind with you, and to forgive you, but to understand. It's like to understand what you're forgiving so you can integrate it and understand it. It's like to gain that real understanding, that real wisdom, that real, it really is like lessons. Seeing what it was you were doing, or what you were saying to yourself, or where you were hinging what, and and hurting yourself. So using my example, it was like I would attempt to get answers. What happened? What did I do wrong? Can we please talk about it? Whatever. And couldn't get those. And would get ignored, would get shut out, would get, blocked. That's so painful for me. Why? Because it's triggering me. Why? Because I must have did something wrong. Why? Because they're not speaking to me. Why? Because I must have did something wrong, right? And so then I'll get into that loop, and I'll get into the loop that it's me, I did something wrong, I could figure out what I did wrong, they won't tell me, they won't communicate, so I have to figure it out. So then I'll stay stuck and stagnant, and then but then beat myself up. Well, I did that wrong. Well, I shouldn't have done that. Well, I shouldn't have done that. Well, that too. And none of it necessarily will justify any of that, but I will pick at myself, and then it's like, then it also gives the message, well, you better be perfect. You can't be human. You better be perfect then. Otherwise, this is what happens. But then it's like I'm telling myself all these wrong messages. So beating myself up, plus telling me I have to be perfect, plus it's like, oh my God, I'm setting myself up to live an impossible standard. And so then I'm keeping myself stuck and stagnant and always in pain and hurting myself and not allowing myself to enjoy life and be human. And it's like, who's doing that? Me. because of the stories I'm hinging and associating. So it's like all these, hopefully you can hear, there's like 100 lessons right there, right? Like learning to unhinge, learning to let drop the bone, learning to accept and allow others to be them and me to be me, doing the best we can, offering, to communicate, offering, being able to be there, knowing you're going to fuck up even when you are there. Like even when you want to have, the good communication, you still might fuck up. Like it's all these things wrapped into one. And it is the idea of it's never ending lessons, because we continue to live and we're continuing to do better. And I don't know what there's something about them wanting me to say willing participants. I guess it's like the idea of, I think they're willing participants. I think they're saying within growth, right? Like wanting to grow and expand, wanting to learn, wanting to feel better, right? So it's like, I keep wanting to feel better, but going back into parties or scenarios or situations that haven't been able to be resolved. And so then I just keep myself stuck and stagnant because I'm the only willing participant. And it's like, well, stop staying in that scenario then. This is the idea of the tsunami zone, I guess, where it's like, look, they're not ready. That doesn't mean they're bad. That doesn't mean they're wrong. That doesn't mean anything other than you can continually attempted, and you've also continually kept your own self stuck and stagnant and beat yourself up enough. And yes, you've had plenty of your own lessons to learn, so you needed to for a time frame, and yet you have to release yourself and take those lessons and continue to do better moving forward. And yet you can't it's the idea of keep looking back or keep trying, like keep like knocking on a closed door, so to speak. You know what I mean? And so it's all okay. It is all okay. And the goal is always to just get back in alignment with yourself, so you can hear yourself and then get your higher guidance and your direct connection to unconditional love. So I think that might be what is attempting to show me here regarding that. It's like the stuff that'll trigger us will take us. It's basically we're going back into past wounds. And so it's either you've done all you can, you can't go back there anymore. And doesn't mean that they can't come back around when they've healed. But it's also realizing this is not that. You're here right now. Align with you. Don't try to recreate the past that clearly didn't work. So what do you want here, right now? Will this get you there, right? What's serving you? What are you telling yourself? Communicate clearly, properly. That will serve you. That's honest. That's true. Not rose-colored glasses, not lies, not conclusions, not accusations, none of that. Yeah, and I think that's a matter of like taking time and practice. And the healing, doing the shadow work, really. The more you do that, the easier it is. And yeah, it's like the more you do that and practice in easy scenarios to build up that bone, that strength, that muscle, the better. Because it will get harder, right? Because then you're going to get pressed against more challenging scenarios. And it's like, how much have you learned from the easier experiences, right? And so maybe that's why it always feels like the last lesson or integration or the final test, because it's like, it continues to get harder for me. Well, because I continue to up level. So it's never going to get easier in that sense. It's the idea of using your own body resistance when you're doing workouts. Well, depending, obviously I always want to switch up the routine, but if you're doing that and you're going at your max capacity should always be increasing, because you're always increasing your strength. And so it's not ever going to get, quote, easy if you're doing the exercise correctly. And you're not looking for easy, are you? You are looking to build that muscle, strengthen that muscle, and to grow that muscle. It might get more familiar, a routine, which is good, but you still need to remain present in doing the routine. Otherwise, you'll slip out of doing it correctly, and then it will appear that it's getting easier because you're not even present. You've stopped growing and become stuck and stagnant. Okay. Which is a slippery slope to devolving. I still think there's more here. There's a little bit more here, but I feel a lot better. I think it was all that mashed together. But also me seeing and recognizing that I was still... And maybe I'll always be sore there. Maybe that's something I also need to learn and understand. And maybe that's why they had me say that last thing. You are always sore after a workout, no matter how strong or how often or however, because if you're doing it correctly, you should be. You want to be. It's that feel-good burn, right? It's like it feels good that it hurts a little bit because you know that you did the workout, right? You did the workout. So, yeah, you're a little sore there because now it needs to repair. And so... oh, maybe they wanted me to hear that too, because it needs to repair. So there's times where, because it still needs repair. But it's not that it's bad, it's growing. I mean, we need that downtime. And maybe it's also true that it's like it will always be a little sore because you're always going to be growing and healing from that. But now that you're so aware of it, it's not going to be the same sore. It's not going to be that gash every time. It's going to be the little tears that it is every time you tear the muscles. And you're familiar with those little tears. So you can respond differently. And tell yourself the right thing. Oh, this is good. This means the workout worked and it's growth. There's still more there. That it's good and to let go. And all is okay. And you're not, thank you. Yeah, that triggered. And you're not abandoning you. You're not abandoning you. You're not going to tell yourself that it's all your fault or you're bad. No, we're not going to do that anymore. No, we're going to tell ourselves the truth and take ownership and accountability as needed. But we're going to stay in alignment and be kind to ourselves and tell ourselves the truth and not take that over accountability or over responsibility or blame every which way, which again, sometimes it's easier for me. It's hard and easy to say it this way sometimes where it's like, well, don't be so egotistical, right? It's like, don't think it's all about you, which is kind of, it like lightens the mood because that kind of makes it funny because that's not where it's coming from, right? It's like, we just want to feel good and we want others to feel good. So it's coming from the heart, but it's seeing like, don't make it all about you, right? It like lightens the mood like, oh shit, right? That is kind of obnoxious, right? Like, okay, you're right. Okay, let's get back onto a playing, even field here where it's fine. It's fine, right? As long as your heart is in the right place and the right intentions and you're doing your part and taking accountability, that's it. Leave it right there and keep on moving. Yeah, keep on moving. Yeah, don't get stuck and stagnant, mulling over things that you cannot change and with unwilling participants. Okay, there we are. Thanks so much for tuning in and listening. You can now purchase an audio journey with me using the link below.